Welcome back to Big Time Fantasy Football with Nick and Zach. We're so happy to have you here. Guys, it's the best time of the year. Season finally started. We made it through the long and dreaded off season. So here we are. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned with us through this season. We're going to drop banger after banger videos for you, and your support would help greatly. But Nick and I are kind of trying out a little new format today. We're going to start off with dropping some news. Then after that, we're going to get into our starts and sits with the week. So, Nick, if you want to get us kicked off with the news, we'll do it.
So to start the new news of this week, there's quite a bit that happened, a lot of injuries. Football season's back. We're going to have a lot of those rolling around, but big one right off the bat in the Friday night game was Jordan Love went down. It looked really bad. I think a lot of people thought he was going to go on injury reserve, be out for at least 4 weeks, but it doesn't look like it's going to be as bad as we thought. I believe it was just a sprain, and he actually has a chance to play this week. However, it is very unlikely that he does so.
Yeah, I don't think there's a huge chance of him playing, but he is one of my most drafted quarterbacks between my leagues, so it's good to see that it wasn't something too big. And then also Puka, he's going to IR with his injury, so he's missing at least 4 weeks. Sounds like it's probably going to be a little longer, and even if he does clear those 4 weeks, it's one of those injuries that kind of sticks around for a while. So don't expect Puka to be back in full form anytime soon.
Cooper Kupp to the moon, baby. At least for the first half of the season.
That's for sure.
But getting on to the next couple, we have Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen both missing practice. It doesn't look like they're going to miss time. They are both day-to-day, so we'll have to feel out that situation. But yeah, keep an eye on those two guys.
Yeah, then there's Njoku ruled out, which is kind of rough because it's been a terrible start for the season for tight ends. So there's not a lot of great looking options out there. So just another tight end knockdown.
And then Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane both missing practice. It looks like Raheem Mostert was already ruled out for Game 2, and Devon Achane is going to be a game-time decision. So if both of their star running backs go down, definitely look for Jalen Wright, the rookie. It's a lot to put on his shoulders to start the week. He'll probably split time with Jeff Wilson, but keep an eye on that.
Yeah. So hard to say. I went and got Wright. I went the right option. Not the correct option, but the Jalen Wright option.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. I kind of got worried after it because Wilson was ahead of him on the depth chart, but it seems like Wright's more built for the Achane role. So if Achane is out, that he might step into it, but hard to say which way it goes. But definitely you're going to want to get one of those guys that should both be on waivers for you. So next we got CMC. Sounding like a long shot. I believe this came in today that he's a long shot to play in week 2, which is tragic. Obviously he's the guy that was at the top of your drafts. If you drafted him, you're expecting him to take you all the way, and then for him not to play the first 2 weeks would really put a damper on your season. But when he comes back, he's still that top guy. So you're just going to have to wade the water for now.
Yep, absolutely. And coming from a guy, I drafted CeeDee Lamb over CMC in the 101 overall. Kind of got lucky so far, even though CD didn't light it up. It helps when CMC only scores 0. So
yeah.
Getting into the next couple guys, we got Russell Wilson. He did not play week 1. It's looking like he said he feels better this week as opposed to compared to last week. But Justin Fields is preparing to start, is what Mike Tomlin said. If he does start, the rushing upside is there. I know he didn't do great against the Falcons, didn't really move the ball that far, but I feel like they kind of took the ball out of his hands a little bit. He didn't have too many passing attempts. I think it was only like 23 passing attempts all game. So we'll see if that goes forward. I know they're playing Denver. Our defense isn't the best. Didn't look great. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah. Wilson, he said that he was going to play, even though when he was questionable week 1, he said that he was going to play week 1 from a report that I saw, but it's looking like he's questionable, maybe even doubtful for this second week. So we'll really see what's going on there. I'm not huge on Fields this week. I know ESPN has him projected like 18.8, which is almost up there with like Anthony Richardson. I'm not really buying into that. So I went and picked up Baker because, like I said, I had Jordan Love, so I went the Baker route instead. But anyways, Jake Ferguson will miss time with an MCL sprain. It looked worse, honestly, when it was one of those injuries that looked kind of worse when he got it. So might be worried that it could be a longer thing. Sounds like hopefully they're keeping fingers crossed that it's just a 1 week thing and that he can kind of get back into shape after that. But remains to be seen.
I think that's all the injury news we have right now. I'm sure
Jordan Addison as well. He's not practicing.
Yep.
Today's Wednesday. We're recording this video. It's released on Friday, but Jordan Addison is not practicing today due to his ankle injury. So he's still questionable. We'll see how he progresses this week. We'll know by Friday what's up.
Yeah. And all these injuries, that's how you know the season's starting. And this week, I feel like it was very highly anticipated. Everyone was so excited to get their fantasy teams actually scoring points. But it was kind of overall a down week for most of the star players. I mean, you've had some that have went off, especially like Jaden Reed balled out. The rookie, the rookie Xavier Worthy, he balled out. It was good to see that. Good to see that explosiveness. A couple of the quarterbacks, but yeah, overall, I feel like it was a down week for a lot of the stars.
Yeah, especially like I mentioned earlier, tight ends was not a great week for. So, just one of those kind of wacky weeks, which is the fun in fantasy football. You never really know what you're gonna get. So,
yep. All right, and now that we're done with the news, we are going to get into the main part of the show. It's going to be our starts and sits of the week.
Yay. Okay, so first start that I'm going to say is going to be J.K. Dobbins. He only had 10 carries last week, but he turned him into over 100 yards, had a big night. 3 catches as well, showed a little bit of the catching games. Obviously, Gus Edwards, at this point, you should know that he's going to be a 0 in the passing game, so Dobbins definitely has him edged in that. And this week, they're playing just look even somehow worse than last year, Carolina Panthers. That looked like they might take a step forward. Definitely does not look like that after week 1. And with the game script, they should be running a lot. And Dobbins is the guy that can turn any carry to a big play. So if they're going to give him a ton of chances, then he's going to break 1 or 2 or 3 against this Carolina Panthers defense and have a big week. So definitely get him in your starting lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. He showed me a lot this weekend. I really thought going into this past weekend it was going to be the other running. Yeah, it was going to be Gus Edwards that was going to ball out and take the lead. But man, JK came back from injury. It's like he never left. He did good. There's some of the breakaway speed that he could continue to work on and get his conditioning back. But besides that, he's definitely the running back you want in this offense.
For sure.
And then I will get into my first start. It's going to be James Conner, running back for Arizona Cardinals. They are playing the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. And week 1, he had 19.3 fantasy points. That's full PPR. Caught a couple passes, couple targets in there. And honestly, the Cardinals' passing game just looked uncoordinated. It didn't really look like they knew where they wanted to go with the ball. So they just ran it. And they ran it on a good Buffalo team. But the Rams in week 1, they got ran all over by the Lions. And I think if they give James Conner the ball, he'll get good volume, and I think he'll be a stud this week. So he's definitely my start one.
Yeah, Conner is a guy that if he's healthy, you're playing him almost in any matchup. Specifically in this one, it's one of the highest, I believe, total points projected this week. So getting James Conner, who can catch passes, who should get some goal line work, who can, do a lot of things. Easy start choice there for sure. But I'll go into my next start. I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels playing the Giants this week. I think Jaden Daniels, for a lot of people, was a guy that if you drafted 2 quarterbacks, he was that second one, kind of like the insurance policy, just based where his ADP was. But this week, I think it's time to fire him up against a lackluster Giants defense. And then he had most rushing work out of any of the quarterbacks, basically. He had 9 designed runs, I think, and then some more scrambles as well on top of that. I believe he had 3 carries, like in goal line and red zone situations, which is most than almost every running back in the league. So that rushing upside is just huge. And in a game where they hopefully can get a lead, even if not, just a defense that they don't have to worry too much about. So,
yeah, Jaden Reed is definitely Jaden Daniels is definitely one of the guys that I was looking at for one of my starts. He's kind of the only rookie quarterback that impressed me this weekend. Drake May didn't play, obviously, and then Bo Nix didn't look great. Caleb Williams, as good as he looked in the preseason, he did not look good at all. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket. He tried scrambling, and it just seemed like he kept getting caught. So yeah, Jaden Daniels really showed us what he did in college. The rushing upside is there. That's why everyone loved him going into this season, and I think he can continue that. Getting into my next guy, I went with DJ Moore, wide receiver for the Bears. They are playing the Houston Texans this week. Houston Texans defense did look decent last week, but Anthony Richardson threw all over him still. I know he has a rocket of an arm. It doesn't look like Caleb Williams has that type of talent. But if Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze are out, which it looks like they're day-to-day right now, we'll see. I think DJ definitely could soak up all of those targets. He got 8 targets last week, double-digit fantasy points in PPR. I think he has a good chance to score this week as well. So all that put together, he's definitely in my start category.
yeah, and with Adunze looking like he might miss this week, then that should funnel a couple more targets out to Moore and then Keenan Allen as well, specifically with Moore. So, should had a decent showing week 1 and should even expand on that this next week as he expands rapport with the rookie quarterback. But my last start is going to be Rashee Rice. I think where his ADP was, you weren't really drafting him to be a wide receiver 1 or 2, just because of the legal stuff. His value kind of dropped and never really picked up, even though it was sounding like he wasn't going to face the suspension this year. So he should be, if you have him, you should be able to play him at flex, or even, if one of your 2 receivers disappointed, swap them out with him. But he was the main target for Patrick Mahomes. He does take all the low work, but in a PPR league, those short passes are just going to rack you up points. Xavier Worthy may be exciting because he had the touchdowns, but Xavier Worthy only had 3 catches, I believe, or 3 targets, something like that. So hyper efficient, but Rashee Rice is definitely the guy in this offense that you're going to get consistency from. So with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown being those deep stretching guys, it's going to open up the field in the short game, and that short game is where Rashee Rice thrives. So it's just going to even help him better. I was honestly close to putting Worthy as a sit here, just because I think he did have a great performance this week 1, but his is less replicable, if that's a word, than Rashee Rice's performance. So
yeah, definitely. You're not always going to get those big plays all the time. Maybe in the Chiefs offense you will, but definitely less replicable. And then Rashee Rice still produced alongside of him, so I think it's a good call on him. Getting into my final start of the week, it's going to be Joe Mixon, Texans running back. They're playing Chicago. I think the Texans are a better team, and they're going to be ahead, and they're going to run the ball a lot. And Joe Mixon had 30 rush attempts last week for 159 yards and a touchdown. So he's definitely proving to be the bell cow in that offense. Doesn't look like Dameon Pierce is going to steal any work from him unless he just needs a breather. He also caught 3 passes on 3 targets. And dude's always been a stud in fantasy since he entered the league. First on the Bengals, now first game on the Texans, he showed that he can do it again. So I like him a lot this week, and he is another start for me.
Yeah, Mixon came out. He was kind of lower too than, people weren't expecting him to do something like this. I don't think he's going to be getting 30 rush attempts every game. He's proven to not be this efficient throughout his career, but still a great performance and one of the best offenses in the league. So he should have a ton of chances to score. They'll probably be up a lot in a few weeks to get his rushing attempts up. So yeah, Mixon, and they should be leading this one, you would think. So a lot of rush attempts should be coming down the pipeline for him. But now that we got all the starts out of the way, let's get some people we're less confident on, get some people that maybe you should be looking at sitting this week. First one is one that I know we both agreed on. Is Jaden Reed. He had the huge. They're playing the Colts this week, but yeah, he had the big week last week. So maybe like, oh, let's try to find a spot for him in our lineup. But with Jordan Love out, that alone just tanks his stock completely. Malik Willis hasn't had over 100 yards passing in a game yet in his NFL career. I know Jaden Reed can run it too, but still, yeah, just not a guy. I think we're going to have to wait till Jordan Love comes back until we're looking at these Packers receivers again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think relying on the big play and the breakaway runs and all that he can do for you, I just don't think that's a good formula for when you're deciding who to start and who to sit. I'd rather go with a guy that's got a safer floor and someone on a better team with a better quarterback, personally.
For sure.
My first sit is going to be Chris Olave, New Orleans Saints wide receiver. They're playing Dallas this week. A really stingy defense. The Browns looked awful against them. Not that the Browns are terrible. I just think that the Cowboys defense is that good. Olave didn't show much week 1. He didn't really have to. They were up on Carolina, I think, by halftime by like 20-something points. So he didn't really have to show out too much. Only had 2 targets, caught both of them. But yeah, I think it's going to be another bad week for Chris Olave. Tough start to the season. I think later down the line he might get better. But yeah, I'm definitely sitting him against the Cowboys.
Yeah, Olave, like you said, just a tough matchup against the boys. But yeah, he won't be shadowed by Diggs or anything like that, and we don't have Bland right now. But still, overall, it's gonna be tough. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on the quarterback. There's gonna be a lot of schemes down in the field to make it hard for Olave to get open. So good call, I think, on the sits there. So my next person, if you guys have been watching us for a while, every time we do a hate love video or draft don't draft like that, I like to do a grouping of players, and today is no different. Today, for the sits, we're going Bills receivers. Specifically, I think Shakir and Coleman would be really the only ones who'd be looking at playing. I'd say sit them for now. And while they should both be rostered, I think in every league, until which way Josh Allen is going to lean. Like Coleman looked like he had a little more work, but then Shakir got the red zone target with a touchdown. So until you really know what's going to go on between them, I say you just kind of wait, you sit, you keep him on your bench, and then once he leans one way or another, then you start playing that player. And that's not even to mention that Miami is not a bad defense in their own right. So, yeah, I think just kind of got to give it some time with those receivers.
Yeah, definitely. Josh Allen's got to work out his chemistry with both of them. And I would even include Curtis Samuel. He had a bad week this week, but, he's still in the fold for sure. So definitely wait and see with those guys. Getting into my next sit, it's going to be Zamir White, Las Vegas running back. They are playing the Baltimore Ravens this coming week. The Ravens defense looks good. I know they gave up a couple big plays to Kansas City, but it's Kansas City. And Las Vegas is definitely in a different category when it comes to offense. I think the Ravens are going to be up big, and the Raiders are going to be passing quite often. And Alexander Mattison looks like he's running away with the pass game work. And I believe Zamir White was only on the field for 38% of snaps as well. So definitely a timeshare there. And when you don't think either of the running backs are going to do great that week, you want the guy that's catching passes, not the guy that doesn't.
Yeah, it seems like Madison might be taking over the RB1 role entirely, so we'll see how it shakes out this week, but shouldn't be a ton of run usage versus Baltimore likely being down big, so we'll check out how that goes. But my last sit is going to be Jameson Williams. So my last sit is going to be Jameson Williams. I know he had the big week, especially compared to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the same offense, but that's not going to be the consistent thing. St. Brown is by far and away the wide receiver one there. They paid him like that. I think Jameson Williams is going to have his boom weeks. He's going to have his down weeks. This doesn't feel like a week to me where he's going to be able to get open deep, and that's kind of really his game. I think they're going to really focus a lot on getting St. Brown the ball this week, and that Jameson Williams just won't have that high upside and doesn't have a great floor either. So,
yeah, I agree. I think with these receivers that are very boom bust, can go off or can dud, I think it's if they have a good week, I would kind of lean away from starting them personally. That's what I do. And I think Jameson Williams no different. And like you said, I think they're going to target Amon-Ra a lot this week. The Tampa Bay defense is pretty good. And when you face a good defense, you really go to your studs and the guys that you trust the most.
It feels, too, like this might be a game they're going to really try to control the ground game. So there might even not be as many targets to go around. But the ones that do, we kind of agree that they're going to go to St. Brown. So,
yeah, definitely. I'm going to get into my final sit for the week. It's going to be the hotness on the waiver wire, Isaiah Likely. I know he had quite a bit of targets, 12 targets, 9 catches last week. Also scored. He had a big week. I saw a lot of double coverage, even some triple coverage on Mark Andrews. And I think they were really focused on limiting him instead of Isaiah Likely. And it caused Likely to have a big game. He showed them that you can't do that to him every week or else he's going to ball out. And I think that Las Vegas, they have a better than expected defense. And I think seeing last week, they're not going to just leave Isaiah Likely alone and not focus on him a little bit. And I think it's going to be more evenly distributed between Andrews and Likely, Zay Flowers. Plus, I think they're going to run the ball a lot more on the Raiders, and I think they're going to be up. So I think there's going to be less pass volume for him as well.
Yeah, I think Mark Andrews will be the biggest bounce back candidate this week. I think he'll definitely look a lot better. He did run more routes than Likely, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I know some people aren't going to be too happy with you now that they got their priority waiver wire with Isaiah Likely, but we'll see how it plays out. If he does, this is a Nick's pick. Don't come yelling at me. You can message Nick directly. But,
let me know in the comments, people.
Yeah, let us know. Do you like these start sits? Do you like some of the guys that we said sit? Do you hate some of the guys who said start? Let us know. Yeah, but we're trying this new format out. We're going to see later in the week if we were right or if we were wrong about these guys, and then we'll get some more news for you. But don't forget to like, subscribe, as I mentioned up top. It's going to help us a ton. We appreciate you if you stuck around this long. If you didn't, we appreciate you, but you're not going to hear this, so you'll never know, I guess. So this is why you got to stick around, guys. But thank you. It's been Big Time Fantasy Football. You have a great night.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.